Hey guys, so this week we are reviewing multiplication. We say reviewing because you've already learned this in 3rd and 4th grade. You guys learned the area model way and the partial products way, and we will add one more way to multiply this week called the standard algorithm. So let's go ahead and begin with number 1. First, we are going to solve this using the area model. So if you started with the area model, you will start by creating your model, and you will split each number into pieces. So if we have 132, we can split that number into friendly numbers like 100, 30, and 2. Okay, and we divide the model at the addition signs. That way we know the sections in which we need to multiply. And then we're going to take 34 and do the same thing on the side. So we're going to split 34 into 30 and 4. And we split it going across as well. Okay, so now we have our area model set up and ready to go. Now that we have the factors on the top and the left side ready to multiply, we're going to multiply one square at a time. So we look at this in columns and rows. I like to start, you can really go in any order that you want to. I love to start in the top left corner and go across the top row, and then start in the bottom left corner and go across the bottom row. So that's what I'm going to do. So if I have 30 as the top row and 100 as my first column, I'm going to do 30 times 100. And I know that 3 times 1 is 3. And I also see that I have 3 extra zeros. So 1, 2, 3, right? And I know that I can tag those on after or to the right of the 3 to make my number more accurate. So instead of just 3, we know that 30 times 100 is 3,000, because it really wouldn't make sense just for 100 times 30 to be 3. We have to make sure that we tag those zeros to the right of our number. Okay, now let's move on to 30 times 30. Row 1, column 2. 3 times 3, we know that is 9. And then we have 2 zeros behind there, so we need to tag on 2 zeros after our 9 to make our final partial product 900. So as of now, we have 3,900, and then we're going to multiply 30 times 2, which is our next column. So 30 times 2, I know that 3 times 2 is 6, and then I know that I have only 1 zero, so my number becomes 60. My partial product becomes 60. We're going to now do the same thing on the bottom row. Let's start in the bottom left row and column, and we know that 4 times 100 is 400, and I'm going to keep my zeros the same, the blue color, so that you can remember that little trick that we learned. 4 times 30, we know that 4 times 3 is 12, and then that 30 has a 0 in there that I need to tag on to the right of that 12 to make it 120. And then my final partial product is going to be 4 times 2, which is 8. Now that I have all of my partial products ready to go, I'm going to add them together. And you can add these 2 different ways. You can either take each partial product and line them up by their place values and add them together like this and have a big long column of numbers. Or the way I like to do it is to add one row at a time. So starting with the top row, I know that 3,000 plus 900 is 3,900, and then you add 60 to that, that is 3,960. Okay, so that's one partial product. I'm going to keep it right there. That's not my final answer. We still have the bottom row, right? We still have to add the bottom row together. So I know that 400 plus 120 is going to be 520, and then 520 plus 8 is going to be 528. Okay, and I need to actually line up my place values. We have to always be careful of that. And we're going to add these together to get our final product. So I know that 0 plus 8 is 8. I know that 6 plus 2 is also 8. 9 plus 5 is going to be 14. Let's make that a 1. And then 1 plus 3 is 4. So I know that my final answer is going to be 4,488. Okay, I'm going to leave that there for you guys, but I'm going to move down just a bit so that I can show you the partial product method or strategy for multiplication. Now, my first step is going to be to rewrite the problem because I've already run out of room at the top. And once I rewrite the problem, let's begin. I'm going to zoom in just a bit. Now, the partial product method is a little bit different than the area model method. The only real difference is that we're not drawing a big model and having to take up so much room on our paper. It's more efficient and more concise. So our goal here is to multiply every factor in the bottom number by every factor in the top number. Now, we cannot multiply factors that are in the same number. For example, we are not going to multiply 2 times 100 because they are in the same number. We're going to multiply all of the parts of 132 by all of the parts of 34. So now I'm going to erase what I just wrote so that I can rewrite it without all of the circles and the colors. So I had 132 times 34. Okay, now let's begin with the number that is in the bottom right position, okay, which is in this case the 4. So we're going to multiply the 4 by every factor in the top, or every digit in the top, okay? So we're going to start with 4 times this 2. So we write out beside it, 4 times 2 equals 8, okay? And now we're going to stay with this 4, but we're going to move on to the next digit in the top number, or the next factor, and we're going to do 4 times 30. And we know that that's 30 because that is a 3 in the tens place. And I know that 4 times 3 is 12, and I know that I have a 0 behind that 30, so I need to make that 120, okay? And now we're going to stay with the 4 one more time to multiply it by this 1, which is in the hundreds place. So then we're going to do 4 times 100, which we know is 400. Now, this should look familiar because the bottom row of the area model is the exact same thing. Here we did 4 times 2, which is the very bottom right of the area model. And then we did 4 times 30, which is the middle bottom row, or the middle bottom square. And then we did 4 times 100, which is in the bottom left square. So that should look very familiar. So if you can kind of guess, the next 3 partial products are going to be our top row. So it should match. So let's continue. And now we are finished with this 4. Okay, and now we're going to multiply everything in the top row by 30. Okay, because that's our next digit right here. We're going to multiply everything in the top row by 30. So now we have 30 times 2. We have 30 times 30. And then we have 30 times 100. Okay, and we know that 30 times 2, well, we know that 3 times 2 is 6, and then we have that 0 in the 30 that we can place behind it, so 30 times 2 is 60, and then we do 30 times 30, we know that 3 times 3 is 9, and we have 2 zeros behind that, so that would equal 900, and then our very last partial product would be 30 times 100, which we know we solved that earlier, that would be 3,000, okay? Now, we have all of our partial products here ready to go, ready to add up. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, it is very, very important to make sure that we have every place value lined up correctly. If we do not have the place value lined up correctly, our answer will be way, way off. Okay? So let's make sure that we have it correct, lined up correctly. And now let's add. So 8 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 is 8. And then we know that 2 plus 6 in that column is 8. We know that 1 plus 4 is 5. And we know that 5 plus 9 is 14. And we know that 1 plus 3 is 4. So that is our final answer. And it does match the answer that we got for the area model. Okay, so that's a quick way to check your answer. If you feel like you need to check it, maybe you could try working it out both ways. And then the standard algorithm we will talk about this week in class. And I may make another video for you guys for the standard algorithm too. So keep up the good work. Keep giving it your best. Don't give up. If you have questions, please ask your teacher. And hopefully this video helps you guys. Good luck.